Welcome back, everyone. Going to the second half here of Dropped Frames. Should we start with Nioh and then talk some Doom? I felt like we had a cliffhanger there from Zeke, so
Sure.
I just
Sure.
want someone to hate on the game as well. That's not necessarily true, but Zeke.
Well, I was telling Cohh during the break, like,
Yeah,
I have questions, and I want to love this game. I do. I really want to love it,
I'm right there with you.
and I don't yet. And I want to know, like,
I have a love-hate
okay,
relationship.
maybe
with
maybe I'll just go into it. I'll just start.
Yeah, let's do it.
The first description I can have that comes to mind for Nioh 2 for me, is that it is unnecessarily complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there is so much stuff going on right away that it seems like you don't need to learn immediately. And maybe I'm just used to the more streamlined third person action games where they give it to you. They give you things like one piece at a time, like one thing at a time. But the first time you pick up a weapon, first time you pick up a piece of armor from an enemy, it has so much stat information that it's hard to discern what's important. Like,
Yes.
it gives me 0.3% when drinking an elixir. I'm like, is that good? Is that a lot? Is that big? Like, shit like that. And it seems like there's a lot of superfluous stuff there. And tell me what's going on.
Okay. So I'll kind of tie this into something else that I've been getting asked a lot during my Nioh 2 playthrough, which I am thoroughly enjoying. And that is, Cohh, is Nioh 2 a hard game? How would you rate Nioh 2 versus like Dark Souls and Sekiro? And I think by answering that, I can kind of answer your question too. Nioh 2, if you don't know what you're doing, is an extremely difficult game. If you don't know how to utilize your soul cores, if you don't know how to properly burst counter, if you don't know the different stances and how to allocate abilities and how to do them, and Nioh 2 can be an extremely hard game. That is due to its complexity. Its complexity is both its greatest strength and one of its greatest weaknesses. This game allows a huge amount of customization. It has a huge amount of ways to tailor your character and customize your player. And for people that are coming from something like Sekiro, where you kind of like pick a weapon and then get really good at parrying, or a game like Dark Souls, where you generally pick a weapon type and then you just get good at dodging and using your weapon set. It is really, really great if you can get into it, but it becomes, just like you said, very complex, almost to the point of unnecessarily so, if you just want to play the game.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, if you take the time to dive in and you kind of learn what stats are good for you and learn how to get them on your system, and you work on soul matching and temper items to get the things you want on them, there's a really deep, awesomely cool game there. But if you're not looking for that out of the game, if you just want to pick a weapon and have some fun and beat some bosses and stuff, it's probably a little more complex than it needs to be. Now, for me, I have really been diving into this game kind of head first. I have been looking at all the different stats. I've been forging armor. I've been tempering things to get what I want. I've been using, different soul cores and test them out and stuff like that. I love this game. But even as somebody who loves the game, I will say that there are times when it is unnecessarily complicated. And even some of its more advanced systems like soul cores, I've kind of found what I want to do with them, and I don't do too much more exploring outside of it. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand with it. TLDR, its complexity is its greatest weakness and also one of its greatest strengths if you can get into it.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. And I think part of the reason why I got so frustrated with it and why I continue to get so frustrated with it is I've played, and Zeke, you will, I think, experience this as well. And I think Cohh just got over it. We've played so much Dark Souls that I think we look at this game as like a Dark Souls game. It's not. Like, we're good at Dark Souls games, and the skill that we learn to play at in a Dark Souls game will only get you so far in this game until it doesn't. And then you hit a fucking wall of just pure shit that you're just eating all fucking day until you can't take it anymore. And you just cross that threshold and you're furious.
Try playing this game without knowing enemy attacks, without knowing your weapon's moveset, without knowing how to key pulse, without knowing how to use your soul cores properly, without being able to like there's so many things where it's like if you know how to do all that, the game actually becomes pretty easy. Finding builds that really synergize with your weapon types. I mean, hell, I'm using a weapon type right now. I don't even switch stances. I basically live in high stance. It's all I do, and it's working great for me. You know, my character at this point can cast 3 spells that basically negate damage for X hits. I get 3 lives per life because I get these things called quick change scrolls, which let me just pop up when I get my final hit. I've got regen scrolls, I've got elixirs, and this is all because I sat down and looked at all the trees and like spec'd out a build that I was like, I want to max my survivability while also doing great damage with these 2 big axes. And it works great. It's awesome. But getting to that point took me 30 plus hours.
I had a full on spit take when I watched your stream yesterday and you died against the boss and I was like, hey, he died. Wait a minute, he's fucking alive. What the fuck is this shit?
That's when I'm like, gotcha. And then I probably beat the boss.
Yeah,
and
you one-shot the boss because you died 3 times but came back.
Dude, the last 3 bosses in the game I've one-shot. Because like my character at this point, it's like I have so many cool little tricks and stuff that have come from like going down different trees and maxing out this and you know putting points into that and I did a full respec at one point.
I'm probably gonna respec, yeah.
It's awesome. It's freaking great. I actually respected to heavy armor.
Really?
So because the only axe set I could find was a heavy armor axe set. So like I respec into heavy armor. I'm having serious problems with my stamina now because I'm like living at 93% equipment load.
Yeah.
But my survivability is shot through the roof. I can get, you know, those gray grab abilities that would just kill me. If I got a great grab ability on my light armor character, I was just dead. Now it does like half my life. I can just jump back up and keep going.
Dude, I had a bad 45-minute stretch where I was wearing light armor, but I was also wearing, and Zeke, this is important info for you. Make sure you're always wearing like as equal level to you that you can armor. Because if you're dropped down by 10 levels on that armor, the gray attacks, I was fighting a normal fucking mob that has a gray attack. I'd get him down to 20, 15% life very simply, and he would get a gray attack off on me and just one-shot me. And it's because my armor was 10 levels lower than like, I think I was level 80 and I was wearing like level 70 armor. And so his gray attack one-shot me. And it was
hard.
Just so much.
Don't get me wrong, it's hard. I've been there. But it's also very important to mention that there's almost not a single set in the game that trumps having the level armor that you're using. So, I mean, there's some really good sets, and some of them have some cool abilities. But a lot of times to keep that set bonus, you have to let your gear just get less and less and less the level that you're actually at. And you'll get to a point where it's just like, what the hell? So, like, break sets early. It's cool to have a set and use them when you get them. But do not be afraid of breaking sets, especially if you're falling behind the level.
Yeah.
You said respec. Is respec free?
No, it's
no. It uses a book of immortality, but you get like 4 or 5 of them out throughout the story, and you can actually buy them for not.
They're pretty common.
You can also reset your abilities, by the way. If you go to the dojo, you can respec your trees, your individual trees as well, which I also did. So once you kind of like, once you pick a weapon, and you know you get all the abilities and all the different stances, and you know you're testing them out and feeling them out. Once you then get your flow down, go back into that tree and only put points into the abilities you're actually using on your character.
Dude, that's
like
that's
I'm only using high stance on my axes. So I went back into my axe tree, respec the whole thing to just use my high stance stuff, and became a lot more powerful.
Dude, that part
That's what
sucks.
I wanted to I wanted to bring that up because the first thing that they throw at you is I don't know how many starting weapons there are in that little tutorial area.
All of them?
A lot. It's like
no, I know, like how, what, there are 10 of them?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then it tells you to
Something
pick
like
a
that?
guardian spirit. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 10 of those, but each of those has 3 different stances.
Right.
So, how the fuck do they expect you to get used to 30 different fighting styles and pick
Totally, man.
Okay.
I'm right there with you.
before
way
you
to
actually
think about
fight any real enemies?
Yeah.
There's 30 different fucking fighting styles to pick from, like high, mid, and low for each weapon. So you're just like, You got to make some shitty guess, I guess. Like,
well, you tie it to your stats.
That's what I did. I was like, I like the 2 axes and I like the switchglaive or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then I'm using it and I'm like, this switchglaive sucks. And these axes are okay. And then I'm like, fuck. I got to try something else.
Yeah.
Each weapon has 3 stats, primary, secondary, and tertiary. So like axe and switchblade actually works pretty well because the main stat for switchblade is magic and a tertiary stat for axes is magic. So you actually get points of damage in both if you raise your magic stat. But the good news is you can always respec and change weapons throughout the game. So if you do really just pick a weapon you don't like, you can go ahead and kind of get it back later. You aren't able to move the proficiency around. And proficiency, a good way to think of that is whenever you attack or deal damage, there's like this hidden level that's going up. And that allows you to do like dojo trainings and do other things that kind of unlock advanced abilities. So when you switch weapon types, you do have to kind of like rebuild the proficiency with those weapon types. But that being said, one thing to hopefully cut down some of that, Zeke, is almost every weapon, switchblade being a little bit different because it changes it, but it still mostly follows this. High stance is all about damage and usually being a little bit slower and not having as many combos. Mid stance is mostly about blocking, and most weapons feature parries in the mid stance line as well. And then low stance is all about fast high combos and mostly around dodging. So you can, of course, dodge and block in high stance, and you can get some pretty sick damaging combos in low stance. But I do think most of the parries stick around mid. But that being said, it's more preferential than anything else. Yeah. I am a high stance double axe user. There's a regular in my chat that is a low stance double axe user. And, you know, we've had some chats about, you know, the differences there. And we both are making good progress in the game. And it's more about your kind of style and how you want to play your character at that point.
What? Hold on. What the fuck?
What?
When do you get fireballs?
So
all the time.
I do want to talk about magic. I don't think
I'm loading my stats into magic, and I'm hoping I won't be bloodborne.
Oh no, you're making my mistake. Don't go magic. It's not worth it. It's a crutch, and it's a bad crutch. It makes fights last so much longer if you sit there and spam lightning bolts to do like little bits of damage.
Magic is very much best used as a support.
Yes.
So like magic, like my magic is rejuvenation talismans, it's barrier talisman, or it's protection talismans. You can get barrier talismans that restore your ki. You can get there's passives in the magic tree that give you like good resistances to the different elemental types. There are attack magics in the game, and they're somewhat okay at best.
Yes, I would agree.
They're not going to be your main damage dealer, and most importantly, you're going to go up against mobs that are just like nearly completely resistant to them, and then it's like, cool, I'm trash now. Guess I'll die then.
That's me.
So yeah, it's kind of like that.
Perfect example, Zeke. I have like I'm pure magic. I have like 50 magic, I think, or 52 magic, or some shit like that. And I have 7 lightning balls or lightning bolts, I guess. 5 like mid-tier magic lightning, and then 5 mid-tier bombs and 6 normal bombs. And so a boss fight starts with me never getting near the boss, throwing all that shit at him, and he's at 75% HP after like 15 minutes of constant dodging. And like that's what boss fights are for me, is just this nonstop dodge, 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 dodge. Here's a percentage of damage of like 1%. And so it's infuriating.
Like I was saying earlier, even attack magic is seen as support. They just almost exactly like JP was saying, percentage-wise, about 75% of your damage is going to come from your weapons in almost all cases. Unless, like somebody just pointed out in my chat, you can like go full magic and it will do like really, really good damage to bosses. Especially if you then well, no, here's the thing. Especially if you get all the different magic types, so you're always using the weakness.
That's the big thing
against the target.
Yeah.
Like if you kind of like live the way of the mage, but that's a little techie. It's not like Dark Souls where you can like be a mage and there's lots of different types of mages and stuff like that. Like you kind of really need to know. That's where the complexity kicks in, where you kind of need to know what you're doing, and you probably have to have armor set that's complementing.
Well, I have like plus Nioh magic armor, like full set, but it's everything is. I'm lightning based. Literally everything's resistant to lightning except like 2 mobs.
Or fire.
Yeah, the thing that it is effective against lightning, like it one-shots it. It does like 1,200 damage per lightning bolt or whatever. But against the boss, it does like 400. Where a normal strike does like 6 to 7 in a combo. So that's like multiple times.
Like I said earlier, I'm using magic primarily as a support for my weapons, and it is insanely powerful.
Yeah.
I can pop a protection talisman and have someone do their gray cloud ability on me, which is usually a very high damage grab, and all I'll see is zeros the entire combo. And then I'll pop out of it. He'll get a lucky hit on me. That'll be a 0. And then the next hit will be at half. And then I'm kind of back.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can do that 3 times right now. And after I get my next level, I'll be able to do it 4 times per boss fight. That's a huge,
Oh,
huge
totally.
boon.
That's why I'm going to respec whenever I return to this game this weekend, probably. But yeah, because it's a fucking nightmare. Just like powering through that.
That's me going survivability. There like the complexity. There's lots of different ways to utilize magic to do it properly. I've seen some amazing debuff mage builds where like their entire build is centered around making the enemy like super weak and then laying into them super powerfully with other melee skills and things like that. There's key reduction builds. There's lots of different ways to play mage, but to make them really good, they all require kind of, again, knowing what you're doing and kind of focusing down those lines.
Yeah. Knowing what you're doing in the sense of like knowing what the mob's resistant to, knowing, what every single one of your spells in depth, which the game tells you somewhat, and also you just have to learn through trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very easy to get frustrated, at least for me.
Couple of things that I've came to mind. Please tell me that key pulsing is not super important.
It's probably the most important thing in the game.
If you don't key pulse properly,
after you attack, you have to press another button to like.
You have to time it.
Like
yeah, you have to time it so it's
and
perfect
here's
key
the thing.
pulse.
Not only do you have to time it, but the better you time it, the more cool effects you can have happen.
You get buffs and stuff as you level up in the trees, depending on like if you perfect key pulse.
You can even get abilities that make it so you get more stamina back by doing different things. So like there's abilities you can get where it's like if instead of key pulsing you switch stances right at the end of your thing, then you will actually get like more back than you normally would get. When I switch to my heavy armor build, if I don't key pulse properly, I am out of stamina. If I am out of stamina, it is bad news. And by the way, JP, I don't know if we've talked about this. Kind of interesting little thing, by the way. If you're ever out of stamina, you can burst counter out of the exhaustion.
I learned that through frustration of just like not slamming the controller, but just like putting the controller away and it'll automatically burst counter. I'm like, wait, I can move again. So,
on my light armor guy, that saved me from death like countless times after I learned it. But then, of course, then you start running into anima management issues, which is a whole nother bar you have. It's the purple bar under your key bar. And if you do too much of the anima stuff, then you start running out of that. And then if you run out of that, then it's
so interesting. We'll eventually talk about Doom Eternal, but I don't know why in Doom Eternal I'm so good at keeping track of a billion things, but in this game I can't keep track of more than like 3 things. Like, I don't know what it is about my brain and how it works that makes it so like, well, I'm good at I missed my key pulse. Oh God, I don't have okay, I'm dead. And then if it's in Doom, it's like, all right, I've got a guy over there. I need to make sure I hit the fucking shot on. Like, there's a billion things that you have to think about, and I just can't. I can do it in one game, but I can't do it in the other. But we'll talk about Doom.
Key pulsing.
Anima management.
Yeah.
Not enema management. Anima.
Yes.
Anima.
Right.
Yeah. The key pulsing for people who don't know is you make an attack, and then after the attack, these blue like sparkles shoot around you, and you hit the R1 at the exact right time. And it gives you back stamina, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can see it right in the top left. As you attack, you get this white part of your bar. And then right when the attack is done, it will super fast fill up to the end. And if you then hit it, you will then get all that stamina back. And if you miss
hold the fuck on. You don't just watch the blue sparkles? You watch the bar?
No, look at your bar,
watch the bar.
10 times easier looking at the bar.
What the fuck? Why they don't...
The game doesn't show you that,
really.
The game? I don't think so. That was from Nioh 1, so I think we kind of
tried doing the sparkle thing. I find it near impossible. But if you look, like, watch when I get into the next attack.
What sparkle thing are you talking about? I don't even know.
It's actually a little blue sparkle that goes on your character. I know it's really hard to miss.
Those tiny blue things after you swing at any point in the game, even if you're not fighting an enemy, you swing and these blue sparkles fly out of you and then they come back.
I've never even seen that.
There's a little visual effect on your character. But if you look at my bar, you see how the white is there? like what you watch in time on the white. Oh, see, I ran out of stamina because I'm dead. Never mind. I guess I'll die then.
Yeah, but who cares? You got a fucking bullshit magic. This is the guy that killed me for fucking 4 hours right here. This exact mob on this exact level. He did that exact move.
Yeah.
And it frustrated me.
There you go. You can see it right there. So the second that white bar connects with the top, that's when you know you're good to then immediately at your key pulse. And what's really nice about looking at the bar is that it allows you to actually prepare for the timing. You don't just see blue and have to hit it. Like you can be like, okay, it's coming, boom, and then you can nail it. So it makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
It just seems like it stops the action though.
It becomes muscle
memory
after a while.
It's supposed to be kind of like a break. It's supposed to be you regaining your composure. So that's the premise behind the key pulse. It's like you're getting back into it, you know. So it is a little break by design, I think. But it's a little weird. It's a very unique thing to Nioh. So it takes getting used to.
How effective is I'm not talking about just the pulsing. Yeah. Whatever, not the pulsing, key pulsing, the
burst counter.
The anima, burst counter. There you go.
Yeah.
How effective is just normal blocking in the game? Because I didn't realize that I could block, because Dark Souls blocking is bullshit. Don't do it, right? So that's what I'm coming into this with, third-person action, melee game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking blocking is bullshit. Don't ever do it. Is that the case here?
No, it's pretty imperative.
Blocking
in
is
some
huge.
fights.
You lose big amounts of stamina when you block. But there are entire builds that revolve around making your blocking really good. You can also parry. You can get parry abilities that make it so you can time blocks well and get counterattacks. But no, blocking when done well is a huge part of this game. Some bosses become near trivial when you learn the proper way to block them. Blocks plus burst counters, and some bosses can't damage.
Dude, how do you feel about the burst counter mechanic, Zeke? I have a lot of thoughts on it.
And they're super easy to do. If you do one thing, you can't move while you do it. If you try to move left or right while you burst counter, it almost never works. You have to plant your feet and then get the timing right. And it works almost 100% of the
burst countering is like taking a charge in basketball.
Somewhat.
You have to fucking plant your feet.
Yeah. It's take the hit. Burst countering. Enemies will do charge up moves where they have red clouds. And anytime an enemy does that, you immediately stop what you're doing. Stop everything. And then you just plant your feet. And you just, the second you see them start to attack, you pop your burst counter. Worst case, you don't take any damage. Best case, you do a huge key damage on them and generally do a little stun as well.
See, Cohh glossed over my biggest issue with burst counters. Still after 30 hours. It's not when you see the red pulse. It's when you actually see them attack. And that fucking sucks. That is bad. I don't care who you are. That's bad. It should blink when the fucking attack is coming, because it's a giant fucking red thing on your screen that says stop and wait. It doesn't mean counter now. It means stop and wait. And I fucking hate that. For some reason,
I just imagine JP as an old guy.
How can you
explicitly tell me when to attack? I'm attacking now.
It goes against everything in my gamer mind of giant fucking red thing means wait. It doesn't mean parry. It means wait and then parry. I hate that.
There's always a delay. So think of it as the second you see the red, everything else stops. You get ready for the burst counter, and then all you have to do at that point is time it properly. It's like unstoppable object,
but
or unstoppable force is a movable object. It gives you time to get ready for it and get the timing down perfectly. But again,
hold on.
If you're moving left or right, it almost always fails.
I love that you just said that, because here we are watching you do this, and you spammed it 3 times in a row.
Oh, I do. Well,
not that you timed it. You just spammed your way into it.
This particular mob has a 4 count when it doesn't. And some enemies do big slashes. And for those, I do end up spamming it and hope I get it right. Now, a lot of enemies will do a big red charge up and then do one big slam or one big attack. Those, 100%, I can get them. But enemies like this, they get tougher because they'll do a wind up and then it's boom, 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 boom. And those are so much harder to get. Some enemies are really tough to burst counter, not going to lie. But some enemies are 100% every single time, especially bosses.
But once you learn it,
a charge or something. And once you get the timing down on it, it's like a free hit. It's a total free hit. There was even a couple bosses early on that I was having a lot of trouble with, and I would just bait the burst. That's all I would do. Because I would have so much trouble getting down their normal combos and stuff that I would just stay away from them and wait for that big burst, and then boom, this is my window. Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, some are easy, some are very hard, and some mobs are near impossible. They're not many, but there's a handful of mobs where it's like, no matter what I could do, I could just not get their burst counter properly.
Do you remember the boss named Gyatso? Without
I'm
saying what it
terrible with
was?
names.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Zeke, do you mind if I say what a boss looks like?
No, go ahead.
The giant fucking boar that turns into a mosquito type dude that you fight in the well area dam. Did you ever burst counter him, or was that just impossible to time? Because for me, it was impossible to time.
Really tough.
I think it's because I was
got him
using
a few times, but I was
Okay.
doing more dodging than burst countering.
I used the brute ferals or whatever the fucking spirit yokai thing that has like a wind up to it. I found it damn near impossible to hit that, so I just stopped trying to hit the burst counter on that. I feel like the dodge would have been a lot easier because the wind up time on the dodge is damn near instant, it feels, and the brute is like a charge up time in that sense. But
see,
yeah.
Maybe your burst counter was harder than mine because mine is near instant. Mine is the phantom type. So my guy just pops up and immediately like applies his like burst counter defense or whatever. So maybe that's why I might just need to swap time with it.
Yeah, because I think that's what I used in the demo, and I still had the same thing of like giant red thing on screen means wait, doesn't mean go. I just can't get past that mentally yet, even with like 30 plus hours in the game.
It's so funny because red means stop everywhere.
It doesn't matter what the fucking, it could be green. It would be the same fucking thing. It's just a giant on-screen notifier. What Zeke's doing is repeating what the dumb fucks in chat are saying because he knows that shit gets to me.
Right after Zeke said that, you could see this little like,
yeah,
like he doing. Oh man.
Which also let me be very clear. Chat, don't do what Zeke does, or you'll get permanently banned from the chat. He's my friend. He can do it. You're a random fucking guy in the chat. Don't do it, or you'll get banned. Let's be very clear with that. God. Let's set some boundaries. Thank you, and go fuck yourself.
Very true.
Zeke has earned it.
Yeah.
Earned it.
Someone said something to me in chat regarding key pulses, which are not burst counters. Key pulses and burst counters are different things.
Yes.
Right. Key pulse, if I didn't even think about this, but it actually kind of helps me lock it mentally. Key pulses are like active reloading in Gears of War.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
a great way to look at it.
Really like kind of made it sink in like, okay, it's not just like an extra button, it's a move. Like like if I regard it as a part of the move, then I might have an easier time. Like it's just the perspective, like looking at it a certain way will definitely help lock it into my mind.
Muscle memory eventually.
Not only that, but there are ways you can tailor the key pulse to become even easier. So like one very common thing people get is the ability to make it so instead of key pulsing, you can dodge. So if you want to play a build that's more dodge oriented, you can just like right when that's getting close, you do a dodge and boom, you just expended a little stamina for the dodge, but you got a lot back from getting the benefit of the key pulse on top of that. So there's ways to make it so it's a lot more intuitive for you.
Well, and also it's so much trial by fire, like right away. Like there's like right when you jump into the first mission that you're supposed to go to, it's like they give you one of these little fucking demon baby enemies, and then it's like huge bull thing with the fucking club, and you're just like,
dude,
is this?
That's right. That guy's optional, by the way. You don't have to fight him.
Am I supposed to skip this guy? And then I spent like 2 hours trying to beat him, and then I was like, fuck this. I turned off the game, came back the next day. I was like, all right. And then during one of the like loading screens, it said, have you tried now I forgot what it was.
Key pulsing, dodging. Oh, burst counter. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried burst countering? Because when they turn red, that's what you do. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
I was like, Kang, and I was like,
see, I didn't have issues with
son of a bitch.
I didn't have issues with any of that until all the other systems started becoming important to the game, and that's where I was like, all right, I'm fucking sucking. Like I'm dying to a random pissant mob that just one-shots me. Pretty much like right after the snake boss is where that started. Is where it just started to go downhill. Because I didn't have better. I stopped upgrading my armor, and it got worse and worse and worse.
Cacophony of failure.
Yeah.
I've been there many times in many games. Yeah. I feel you, man. It's very frustrating.
But I was fine up until then because Dark Souls.
It's kind of funny because I don't know what the bloody hell those devs were thinking making that boss that mob the second enemy in the game. Like I don't know what design meeting. Like I don't know if someone was just making a joke and then they took it too far. But like to have that be the actual second enemy of the game, because everything in a normal game player's mind is, oh, here's my challenge. I need to overcome it to continue. Oh, here's my challenge. I need to overcome it to continue. So the idea of putting this giant hulking beast that's incredibly hard for new players to beat, like, and intuitively have people think I need to kill this to progress. It's weird going around it. Like that's not how most people want to do. So they think they have to just keep grinding away at it. And it's an incredibly difficult enemy for first time players. Like it really is.
When I came up against
fundamentally disagree with what they did on that. It's hilarious, but it's a terrible decision.
Well, when I came up against it, I fundamentally, like, since I've been trained by video games, went, you can skip this guy. This is the Asylum Demon. Like the first time you meet the Asylum Demon in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
You're like, this guy is way too high for me to beat, but I'm going to do it because I'm stubborn and I will not be defeated. So like 3 hours later, I was like, okay, I got it. I'm satisfied now. Now I can play the game.
Yeah.
You know, one question I had, and I want to get your guys' opinion. Is there too much fucking loot? It seems like there's too much fucking loot to me.
No, because eventually you start to not care about what the loot is. You just see it as money.
It's ARPG loot?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is like it's Diablo style looting.
Where you want to loot you want to loot everything because it turns into money. And money is so important.
Later on, when you start getting, like, for instance, one of the things I did offline over the last couple of days was there was a specific boss in the act before mine that dropped the smithing text at 5% for the armor that I wanted with my axes. So I went back and I farmed that boss. I think it took me 5 kills to get the text. And the kill before that, I got a droppable weapon art, by the way, which is a cool thing. You can actually get special weapon arts for your weapons that are only rare drops off bosses.
Huh.
And then what I did was I took that smithing text and I used the glory from the PvP stuff to buy rare crafting materials. And I have now crafted a full set of purple my level gear with the exact set bonus I want. And the only reason I could do that was because all that other gear I got throughout the course of the game, I'd been disassembling into components. So then I could use those components and the money that I sold a bunch of other stuff for to then make the new set of gear.
Yeah.
So it is a huge amount of loot, but at the same time, all the loot has its use. If you either sell it for money, which you buy more things for later, or disassemble it for pieces to make that perfect set you're looking for, or, you know, it's all good stuff. Everything's good stuff. And every so often you get it, like you still want to check everything, especially stuff that has your stat value.
Especially
you
weapons.
usually only have a couple stats on your armor, like strength con or con, skill, stuff like that. And every so often you'll get a piece of gear that's just really good. You know, it has extra damage in the stance you like. It gives you unlimited ninjutsu and you're using mostly ninja skills. It gives omno magic power and you're doing mage stuff. Like every so often, once you start learning what to look for, like you'll start noticing, like, that's a really good piece of gear for me.
When you say that, you're talking about items that you would normally overlook because they're gray tier items, right? Because you will always look at purple and above tier. You'll always look at those.
I look at everything.
Yeah.
I usually don't use blue or below because at that point you're sacrificing like actual like lines of stats, and usually those almost all stats are at least somehow useful as long as it's not for stuff you don't use at all, like weapon sets you don't use or stuff. But in turn, like yellows, I definitely will wear some yellow stuff. And even later in the game, when you start like really quickly progressing through the story, even blues, like sometimes you get a blue item that just has like 40 more defense than your best yellow item, and it's like, well, guess I'm wearing blue for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's sometimes even low tier items can be good for your current progression. But your end goal is purple, and then when you move into New Game Plus, you can get green, which has an even more higher modifier, and then it's just like the loot hole
starts going crazy. The other thing,
do you change everything like constantly?
You should.
I did.
Apart from weapons.
Moving up, I fell into the same problem JP had for a good few hours.
We texted
I had
about
a really
that
nice
back
set.
and forth.
Yeah, I had a really nice set that I just didn't want to break because I really liked the bonus, and it started screwing me, to put it blunt. I started just getting one shot all over the place because my defense wasn't kept up. But when I got to the point where it was like, first you primarily make sure your defense is high, then you start looking at stats that match what your character does, then you start going for rarity, and as you kind of like start noticing more and more little attributes that help your character, and you start, being able to quickly look down lists and just check if anything's good, then it all becomes a lot more realistic to have a lot more items that you would use.
Yeah.
So you'll never find an item that's like you'll keep for any amount of time.
If you find a weapon that's really good, then you can soul forge it and rank it up. And by weapon being really good, it's like an imbued corruption or whatever, a purity or whatever. It does more damage to yokai, blah, blah, blah. But then it does the thing where you can you find a level 50 purple and your item's level 25. You can then imbue that level 50 so that the item that you've been using becomes level 50.
Yep.
And that's
why, by the way, can't do that with armor.
You can do that with armor as well, but it's very expensive. This whole thing is super expensive. So that's why you want to sell everything. I got my
blue and yellow backwards. In most of the games I play, yellow's better than blue, and I always get that mixed up. Blue is actually better than yellow in Nioh.
Yeah, I think you can also change the colors too in the options if you want different rarities.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, I think I remember seeing there's a shit ton of options in this game, which kind of complicate things even more.
You can refashion them too. See?
Yeah, that's
so
the
if you
other
have
thing,
an armor that you really like how it looks, you can actually make it look like other stuff.
Oh, and also you can go and re-roll individual stats on armor and weapons.
Tempering items.
Which is a whole nother fucking thing.
If you get a nice piece of gear that you like 2 of the 3 stats of, you can actually temper the 3rd stat, and you'll get a random selection of other stats you can make it. So then you could jam in something and make like a really nice set of gear. There's even another level of that you can do if you start doing Twilight missions. You can get these quality attribute items, which then let you have even more options when changing gear to kind of like spec to your character.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a waste of time ever to put time, money, whatever, materials into a set of armor that you like if you're just going to find something that's better from a drop?
No, because you'll learn to get eventually I just started crafting white armor. I tried to, you have a percentage chance to craft purple armors depending on what you put into it. I was just crafting armor that benefited me with just the singular stats so that I would have equal level armor. And if I got into a mission and found something that was better, I would just equip it regardless. Because defense matters. The game doesn't really tell you this, but it matters so fucking much
defense
in the
toughness.
game. Yeah, defense and toughness. Because it's basically like you'll take this much less damage from an equal level mob. And if you're 5-10 levels down, what will one-shot you will give you 60% damage or 50% damage. And so it's imperative to always be fucking getting the equal level gear to the mission level, basically.
Yeah,
and the game will also tell you when you go over mission difficulty. Someone in chat pointed this out to me. I was wearing 20 levels lower than the mission, and it was 5 stars. I went and got white armor or gray armor or whatever of the same level, and it went down to 3 stars. And so the game actually tells you that it doesn't flat out tell you that, but the difficulty changes in that regard. And that's, I guess, them saying hey, this is actually important. But it's not it's not in your face important, but it is super fucking important. It changes the game.
Just to add on that a little bit, one kind of good/nasty aspect about this game is even enemies you fought in the past kind of scale with you as you move through the story. So an enemy that was nearly one-shotting you when you were, in Act 1, if you're on Act 4, that same enemy will nearly one-shot you, even though you've progressed through 60 levels of stuff. So a lot of times, having max defense isn't the difference between taking 100% damage or 60% damage. A lot of times, making a huge defense jump is the difference between being able to survive 2 hits instead of 1 hit.
Yeah.
It's instead of a hit killing you, you only have 95% now. But the big thing is even that difference can be really, really important. It's every little bit you need to have on your character, especially if you're not the kind of person that's nailing perfect dodges, getting perfect key pulses, blocking everything, perfectly,
playing perfectly, which is fucking hard.
Yeah. It's even little bits will help a lot.
Which I think that's a big thing that might outside of all of the difficulties and systems and all that shit. I wish there was more enemy variety in this game. You're
especially
fighting
how many enemies they reuse from 1.
Yeah, you're fighting the same 12 enemies throughout the game, except for bosses, which are unique to almost every boss.
You know what, dude? and this is where we have to talk about like the weaknesses of Nioh 2. Nioh 2 is 85% Nioh 1.
Totally.
Like the game feels exactly like Nioh 1. I mean, it has a few new mechanics, but none of them are hugely sizable. Like it's kind of weird because I also got the question a lot like, hey, I wasn't super into Nioh 1. Would I really like Nioh 2? And my flat out answer was just like, no. Like
it's the same game.
This game is it's like an expansion almost. It doesn't really feel like a 2. It just feels like a lot of new levels, a good amount of new mobs, but there's a lot of reuse and you know, a lot of assets. I think in the environment.
There's not a lot of reuse from straight reuses, is what Cohh says.
Reuses, yeah. I'm sorry, yeah, reuses. So like that minor enemy you see right there. That's just a mob from Nioh 1. But yeah, there's a lot. It's like a Nioh 1.5, like somebody just said in chat. Thank you. But at the same time, like if you like Nioh 1, like I did, you'll probably love Nioh 2 because it's just everything Nioh 1 was and like some really cool new mechanics. But if you weren't a fan of Nioh 1, this game is not going to swing.
Yeah.
It's not.
So if I wanted to jump back into this, which I do, I want to fall in love with this game. What can I, like, as far as all the information goes, what should I focus on? And what can I ignore the rest?
Okay. Focus on defense. Learn to key pulse. Don't move and really focus on timing for burst dodges. And do axe, odachi, hammer, or spear, and focus on heavy armor.
Yeah, that's probably like I think that would be the most approachable
The
build.
best armors in the game are heavy. And you can also get away with mid if you want to. Blocking is huge and great if you can get it down and learn how to manage stamina with it. And the weapons that I just mentioned, usually one of the stats that you power up to get heavy armor with, those weapons have those as primary stats. So you will also do great damage while also being able to absorb a lot of damage as well. Yeah. Now you could go like a great person that's been streaming this game into the ground. He also did the first one, Man vs. Game. You know, he's all about like light armor and sword and stuff, and he's pretty damn good with that. He's gotten arguably really good with it.
Yeah.
But he also has many, many hours in the game. So it's the kind of thing where the game becomes exponentially more enjoyable and easier to deal with if you treat it more from a tanky standpoint. I know that seems kind of like general info for general games, but that advice really shines in this.
It's pretty true. Yeah.
This game is tough in light armor. It is hard. It is difficult. Like I started with dual wielding weapons and light armor, and it was a relatively brutal experience at times, where almost like normal enemies, you mistime a slice on a normal enemy, and he just does a quick quick combo and you're dead.
Yeah.
And I mean that would, and then you'd be, you know, you'd have killed 15 enemies to get to that point. You were almost to a checkpoint. And sometimes the game will throw some really difficult situations at you when you're fighting through like a yokai zone, so your stamina is already getting down really low. You'll have 2 guys shooting at you. You'll have 3 big enemies swiping at you, and it's like, and if one of those enemies hits you twice, you're dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can make this game very difficult if you don't kind of play it the way that is easier.
The devs love to throw a new enemy type right before a big checkpoint after you've been like progressing to this point after 20 minutes through like 20 mobs, and it's like, here's a brand new thing. You have no idea what the fuck this mob's gonna do. Good luck. And in some cases, you can actually kind of cheese it because you can like lead the mob away and then just haul ass to the door, so you lift open the block that will unlock the shortcut, and then just say, fuck you, I'm gonna go save.
Yeah.
And then go back and fight the mob
I do that
right
all
after.
the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like that wheel mob you just saw me fighting, like for example, if you don't know how that mob functions, he will start doing his little thing, and if you dodge out at the wrong time and it hits you once, it's going to hit you 5 more times.
It's the cartwheel
and if
from
you're a
Dark
light
Souls.
armor wearer,
Yeah.
2 of those 5
The
hits will
bone
kill you. So it's just like he kills you, and then he just poops on your corpse as he grinds it into the ground, you know, as you're already dead. It just gets insulting at times.
Yeah, it's pretty unfair.
How much damage they do. But yeah, it can be brutal, man. It can be brutal.
Yeah.
What do you look for?
I highly recommend Spear, by the way. Spear is it's a long range weapon. It does a lot of damage. It's a weapon that focuses on heavy armor too. I think it's a great starting weapon. Axe also is an odachi. Those are kind of like the big 3. If you do those,
no, I'm talking about like like when you pick them up, like stats. What do you look for?
Well, mostly it depends on your armor set and the weapon's primary stat. So like it's usually like strength con or strength con stamina, and then heart, I think, is one of them because that gives you more ki. But
Okay.
it kind of, you want to keep your stat load around usually a specific set of armor. So if you're going for heavy armor like strength, strength con, or stamina, and there's a few other ones. I don't remember all the combinations.
Okay.
But you usually have like one type of armor that you're going to be doing, and then like one big stat for your weapon, and then each weapon also has tertiary stats that will also give damage to that weapon. And then also, a lot of people generally like to pick or dabble in a little bit of ninjutsu or magic, which is dexterity and magic.
Mhm.
And like dexterity, you get dexterity up. That's how you get those quick change scrolls. You can throw bombs, you can throw shurikens, you can coat your weapons in poison, and then eventually get to the point where if you die, you just come back to life, and you can do a downward swipe if you want to on the way back in, and that just kills some enemies. And that's basically like extra lives, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And you dabble into magic, and you can do regen. You can pull enemies from further away. You can get your ki to come back more. There's tons and tons of support options with those two trees as well. So
Oh, hey,
Anyway.
this motherfucker.
Yeah, we'll go to Doom.
This fucking piece of goddamn. Get him off the screen.
We're still on Nioh. Never mind.
Get him off the fucking screen. That fucking giant ass pig fuck.
The thing that
Sorry.
I'm most scared of, I guess I'll close with this. My thoughts on Nioh. The thing that I'm most scared of in Nioh is that I will spend multiple hours using a weapon, trying to get used to it, trying to get good with it, trying to get a good one, like good stats or something like that. And I'll discover that I should have been using a different weapon the whole time, and I feel like I've wasted all those hours, like using
every
a weapon
single
I don't like.
weapon in this game is viable. Every
Yeah.
single weapon in this game can be main. There is not a single weapon in this game that's bad.
And you'll very quickly find out what combos work for you. And
It's
you'll
all
start to
about which
use them
moveset
nonstop.
you like the most, which stat you're focusing on to go with your armor. Like there's no weapons in this game that are just bad. It's not that kind of game.
It's also not like one thing that I fell into very quickly as someone who has played so many fucking Dark Souls and replayed so many Dark Souls games. It's not just press the button. You don't just press attack, attack, attack. There's like inputs that do combos that are vastly superior to just normal combos. Specifically with like the scythe. If you're in high stance and you unlock it and you hold L1 and square, your guy will do this like twirl thing that completely stagger fucks the enemy. And then you can, he'll like lose all of his ki, and then you just go up and like one shot him after that. He like wraps around the scythe around the neck and drags him to the ground and kills him. So like that
You have
stuff
to
is
buy that
super
move?
important. Yeah, it's like an unlockable move. Yeah.
Each weapon has its own pretty extensive skill tree, and that's
Yeah.
a skill tree you can spec whenever you want. So what I recommend is when you have picked your weapon, take a solid 15 minutes, look around your tree. Every one of those trees has a video, so you can see the move in action.
Yeah.
You can see exactly how it functions, and then you can. Each tree also usually has like a stance direction. So like high stance will go up, mid stance will go left, low stance will go down, and then generally like optional or cool unique attributes of the weapon will go the other direction. And just look through them. That's how I found almost all the cool stuff on my character. Is I would just go to those trees anytime I get a point. Go to the outsides. Start at the outsides and be like, what abilities do I want to work towards?
Yeah.
And then kind of trace them back where you are, and you can kind of go from there.
The most important thing, Zeke, that Cohh told me to get after he had found it, on the right-hand side of the Nioh magic tree, there's a restoration talisman or rejuvenation talisman.
Rejuvenation.
It literally is just like regen on yourself. So you don't have, it basically gives you like up to, I think, 5 or 6 uses to where you don't have to use elixirs. And so you just pop it on yourself and then you just kind of wait. Or you pop it on yourself when you're in a fight. So if you get hit, your HP will just start ticking back up. And it's
most importantly,
unbelievably helpful.
that lets you start banking elixirs. So
Yeah.
every time you die, you come back and you are fully charged with all the healing you could need. Also, I recommend pretty much the entire game having your Kodama set on more elixir drop. It just seems to be good, unless you're some kind of like really, really good user.
Dude.
I pretty much always have my Kodama set on elixir drop. Anyway,
Yeah. There's
Nioh
so
2.
many systems that we could say like,
Yeah, we could talk about this another hour, but we got other stuff to talk about.
it's very complex. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to say that thank you for all this, and you have convinced me to give Animal Crossing a try.
Well,
Nice.
sir, in that case, I give you one warning. Tom is a crook. Do not sign anything.
Tom will fuck you. For sure. For sure. I do have one last question for Cohh. It's more of a topic of discussion because chat reminded me that I was saying this when we were playing. I feel like with the yokai bosses, that's their the devs' take on like, let's try things that aren't typically used mechanic based in these games. And with the human bosses, they're just like standard Soulsy bosses. And all of the yokai mechanics, for the most part, suck. Like, they're annoying.
They're seemingly a lot more difficult.
Yes.
They try to do some. They kind of really go outside of the normal Nioh comfort zone with some of those bosses. I'll completely agree. And if you do decide to pick it up, JP, you're in for some interesting rides down the road concerning that.
Yeah.
There are some bosses you fight where it's just like it's nothing like a normal fight.
Dude.
We can. I do hope you pick it back up because there's some really cool stuff down the road.
Yeah.
And I think the day that you quit, you kind of nailed it when you were just like, I wasn't in the right headspace.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I think a respec and a few little changes, and I think you'll be right back on track.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting to go back to it after I finish Alyx for sure. But it was a motherfucker. That the owl Zeke.
Although the story, oh my god, like what?
The story is an
so hard to follow, man.
I don't know. Some guy pops up and they're like
crying.
It's like a giant revelation. I'm like, wait, who the fuck was that? And why did he just talk shit about my mom and kill this other guy?
If that's his sister and he's married to that girl, does that mean that that's the sister of the other brother, or the brother is sister of the person that got married and then killed by the first brother when the second brother was married to the sister-in-law that then
is someone that followed every Kingdom Hearts game? The Nioh 2 story is so impossibly hard to follow for me. I'm just like lost.
Unless you're really good with Japanese names. Like if you can remember everyone and all their names, I'm sure it'd be about 10 times easier.
Yeah.
But by the time on Act 5, they were like, Yoshimitsu Natsu just died. It's terrible. And his wife, Ayoto Tanaka, is not there. And I'm like, who are they? And chat's like, the two main characters from the last act.
Yep.
Just like,
it's like, look, man, fucking call them Bob and Shirley. All right. I love Bob and Shirley. I'll follow Bob and Shirley to the end of time. These other names, they don't register for me, man. I'm sorry. It doesn't stick.
Well, and I think it suffers from any like story in a difficult game. When you spend 4 hours trying to beat a boss or a mob or something, you forget that there's a story.
Oh, totally.
It's just like, I got a chunk of story right here. 4 hours later, you're just sweating and like, I got it down. Ooh, fuck, did you see what I just did? Fuck.
It also doesn't help that Nioh 2's story is like a story in a story with like a sub story under that. And then like each act is its own little story. And like and you got to kind of like keep the threads. Anyway.
Yeah.
We'll wait until you guys have more time in it. We can come back to
it. Yeah. I might have finished it by next Wednesday. We'll see. It depends on how good whatever the respec goes.
I think I'm in the last level. So
okay.
We'll see. I'm gonna explore New Game Plus a little bit, I think though.
Oh really? You're gonna push on to NG Plus?
I think I'm gonna check out some of the green item drops and stuff. I'm really enjoying it.
We've got a little bit of a break in terms of big game releases between now and Resident Evil.
Next one's 7?
No, Resident Evil 3 is on the 3rd, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's only like 2 weeks. What? Oh god, it's
next Friday. Away? Next Friday is Resident Evil. Then the following Friday is Final Fantasy. So.
Oh god.
Games start coming out. Another game that came out is just it's so fucking good. It's so except for the final boss. But everything else is so fucking good. It's Doom Eternal. This was one of those games where for me it was the perfect game to stream because it's unbelievably fun. And I've also been training for this game my entire life because I played so much Quake as a kid, specifically Quake CPMA, and the movement in this game is floaty. There's an option for it to be floaty, just like CPMA. So it was just on the hardest setting. It wasn't hard. It was fun. Like there was no frustration at all during this game. And so it was just the easiest and most fun game to stream. I had so much fun with it on so many levels. And it's even better when you look over and chat's like, geez, JP can actually aim. I'm like, yeah, I can, guys. It's great. I'm going to go back to playing now. It's one of the best feelings when you're streaming a game and chat's not constantly shitting on you, which is a great inverse from Nioh, believe it or not, for me. So, yeah, it's just a hell of a thing. I'm talking about story, Cohh, how do you feel about the story of this game? It's kind of comparing it to Doom 2016. What are your thoughts on this game's story?
Well, okay. There's the story and the presentation. I thought
Sure.
I never really go for huge amounts of story in Doom game. I kind of like, I'm more about trying to appreciate what's there. What I will say is I really like how they fundamentally develop the lore. I'm a lore head, as people on this show know. I love when there's a lot of context and interesting backstory to things. I read every single log to the stream that we got in this game, and I really enjoyed the dichotomy between like the makers being heaven and the demons being hell, and how they tied that into normal stuff, and like all the history of the Doom Slayer, and how the makers and sentinels brought him into the fold, and like all this stuff with that. I know Doom lore. I know, Chad, I know. But I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it. I thought a lot of it was really well written and very interesting. And I really dug it, man. I really dug it. Like, I thought you could very much tell that it made a big push to try to make it something interesting. And for people that wanted to look at it, which isn't everybody, let's be honest, but for those that wanted to, I thought it was pretty damn great. Yeah. Some of them gave me little goosebumps. Some of those lore entries gave me straight up like I got like a little choked up because I was getting like, oh, this is badass. Like, yeah. Some of them were really good.
It's an interesting thing, I think, with the story, because like I feel like the developers were fighting two things, and specifically talking about the codex entry things. I felt like, one, they were fighting a budget, and I felt like they ran out of budget or didn't put any budget toward that stuff, because they very could have easily just added like play or like voice this, because some of them are super fucking long.
I would have loved being able to have a voice read those while I could keep playing.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that was like a budgetary restriction, or if they chose not to do that because a large portion of the Doom audience does not give a fuck about what the story is in Doom. They just want to go kill shit. And so maybe it was like the combination of those two that led them not to do that. I don't know. But yeah, it was otherwise like, it was fine. What was the thing that he said about where the Doom guy talks and he says something about guts? I thought that was just the stupidest.
Oh yeah,
funniest
when he was
thing.
like, he was in his like demon killing mode, and he just wanted to kill. He was a bloodlust demoning, and
it was.
Yeah, I was a little torn when we heard this Slayer's voice. I was like, was that really needed? Did we need to hear the Slayer's? I don't know if back really needed to, but I thought hearing his voice would be very palpable, something like amazing, and it was just kind of like just like little side dialogue.
Yeah. I don't like to say that it was cringy. I hate saying that whole phrase, but it was a little cringy.
I wouldn't say it was cringy.
The thing where he's like blood and guts, and then they're like telling this epic fucking story about the Doom Slayer and rip and tear. Come on, man.
Also, I gotta say, voice selection for him I was expecting something a lot deeper, a lot more like visceral, a lot more like just like something really. But this guy was like, rip and tear, like, okay,
yeah, it was a little bit.
I didn't know it was a bro. That's cool. We can go with this.
Yeah. On the other side of that, though, I felt that whatever the like AI construct's name was that would pop up.
Vega.
No, not Vega. The female AI that would pop up that would be on Earth level, whatever her name was.
The representative person.
Yeah, her voice that was similar to like when you would go into missions. And the entire reason, I felt like the entire reason for the like mission dialogue was just to gas the player up and get them fucking hyped, because they would refer to you as like, I think he's a god, and you're like, you're fucking goddamn right. Let's go destroy some fucking demons. Like
that voice acting was great with those little audio logs from the worker. Yeah, those were really cool.
Yeah, Eleanor, that's her name. Yeah, she was fucking sick. But yeah, that's kind of like all story stuff. Gameplay wise, for me, I think I'm okay with saying, and this is actually, I think, kind of, I think the community is split on this. For me, this is the best FPS I've played in a very long time. But I think for other people, they go really heavy into movement and platforming in this game. And for a lot of people, they liked what Doom 2016 did with that, because there was the absence of that. There was less for sure. And this one, they go like full on movement.
Doom 2016 was much more real. Like Doom 2016 was like even just getting key cards. You walked up to bodies and took the key card off the corpse. Where in this one they're just kind of like floating. Like in this game, pickups are like giant neon billboards. You know, like it. This one feels much more like a video game interpretation. Where Doom 2016 at times felt like they were trying to go a little bit more dark with, a little more visceral, a little bit more realistic. It was an interesting change of pace.
Yeah, and for me, like it felt more Quakey. Like through and through, everything just felt more Quakey, from the movement to having, like you said, the billboard style objects everywhere. The jump pads, like every fucking arena had jump pads everywhere. And for me, like I love that shit. But I could totally see where, you know, if you were wanting like the Doom 2016 experience, it doesn't necessarily offer that.
It was also really cool in Doom Eternal how everything kind of had a lore place where you know, like even like the different tech levels, they would have, you know, the jump pads would be so they could move cargo and stuff like that. Where again, in this one, it was just like, oh, cool. It's like a jump pad here, a jump pad here, a jump pad there. Like, why? Who knows? It's so the Doomslayer can jump around and kill demons. You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
it very much felt like multiplayer Quake 3 arena maps rather than like story-based type stuff, like you were just saying, for sure. I'm curious what you thought of like the gameplay from your side of things, and generally just everything else.
I liked the whole game. I thought I had a smile on my face from beginning to end. There were definitely, as somebody who is not quite as talented at FPS as yourself, there were definitely a few parts that I got a little bit frustrated. Especially, there was one particular mob that I'm still to this day convinced was broken. I don't think it's working properly. I think the game specifically tells you that it's supposed to function in a certain way, and it doesn't.
Start with an M.
And that what?
Okay, yeah, you're gonna say the name. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's the Marauder, I think is the name of the mob.
I have a love-hate
the one
relationship.
That summons the dog. Like, it specifically says, if you get far away, then he does this, like, super high, fast energy blast. And if you get too close, he uses a shotgun. So you're supposed to stay in the middle. But what this mother likes to do is you get right in front of his face, so you bait out his, like, little green eye thing, and then he starts throwing his super high, fast, long-range attacks at you. And you can't, unless you're already moving, like you don't avoid them. And on Nightmare difficulty, that's like 75% of your life. So if you're hurt, like you're dead. So that drove me crazy, man.
I have a super, like, the thing with the Marauder is that.
Oh, here we go. You're about to be like, now if you do this,
no, I'm not going to say that at all.
Okay,
the Marauder, I mean, there is a way to cheese him without a doubt. But the thing with the Marauder is, it changes how you are supposed to approach the entire encounter when they spawn. Like the gameplay changes, your entire focus of everything becomes, oh God, I need to go get this I got this fucking Marauders over there. I got to get all the way over there and chainsaw some motherfuckers so he doesn't one-shot me. Okay, I'm ready to fight the Marauder.
Every other mob from the arena. Step 2, focus on the Marauder until it's and then you basically try to get an attack off, then run around like a freaking idiot trying to chainsaw and fatality people to get your life back, then have an attempt on doing damage, then do the same thing. Like, I got a method down. Towards the end, I was doing all right against them, but it was a bumpy ride getting there, man.
The other thing, the first time you fight them, and they do this a lot within the game, like you'll fight a boss, and then the next fight you're fighting 2 of those bosses is a normal mob, and they do that a lot.
Player gates, man.
Yeah. Those are my favorite parts of the game, I think.
Yeah, same here. At the end of the day.
Yeah. So with the other thing with the Marauder, if you're having issues with Marauder, and this got pointed out, I didn't find this out on my own. You can go shotgun to stagger them, swap to rocket, fire rocket, swap to ballista, fire ballista, and you can 2-round the Marauder. And so it becomes less of a pain in the ass as soon as you learn that.
Super shotgun, then rocket, then
ballista. Yeah.
You have time to do all that?
Yep. Because there's very little delay for switching weapons. Less of a delay than reloading. Because like you can get 2 shotgun shots off.
Oh.
But if you swap, then
that's what I did almost every single time was 2 shotguns.
Yeah. And that's what I did at the start.
Power fist up, whatever that was called. I would try to throw that in there if I could. That's interesting. Good to know.
It's-
I had one Marauder where right when he went green-eyed, I fired a BFG over his head, and then I hit him with a shotgun, and the BFG didn't hit him, but all those little tendrils did.
Oh.
Like as it went over his head, and it basically killed him in one round. And I was like, "Oh, cool! I got a foolproof strategy. I'm going to do this every time."
Nice.
And then he blocked my next like 6 BFG.
Yeah, they'll ignore the super weapons for sure. Yeah. So Marauder is a controversial enemy, and probably the only one I think in the game. A lot of people hate him, rightfully
As
so.
someone just brought up in chat, and I think this might have been, looking back, I can see why not only this guy said it, but I think it may have been a big reason for me. This game is all about flow, and Marauders are a giant pause button on the flow.
I agree.
Everything, just like you said, like everything else stops when the Marauder fights happen. And almost every other mob in the game, no matter how difficult, even the Arc demons at the end, you could still just kind of flow around with them and do kind of like, and you could, I don't know, like I liked how he said that they stopped the flow.
Yeah,
I that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Still cool. Like I kind of like that they're there. And the lore on them is kind of on point. They're specifically designed to kill the Demon Slayer. Like they have the tricks that they're supposed to be able to like stop the Demon Slayer in his tracks, and they do. So I mean, there's some really cool aspects about him as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell that like the reasons that the Marauder are in there is because the devs didn't like aiming against the Marauders does nothing. It's mechanics against the Marauders that are important.
You know what?
What?
We can pause this right here until Zeke's done with the game.
Yeah. Well, Zeke, this is actually a question I have for you, Zeke. Are you going to play this game? And if you are you going to play it on console?
Am I going to play it on console?
Or are you going to play with a controller? Let me rephrase that.
No, I won't. No.
Okay. No,
I'll be playing with keyboard and mouse.
Are you going to play it on the hardest difficulty?
Yep.
I don't know how you can complete this game with a controller on the hardest difficulty, even though you said that. Like, to me, that just breaks my fucking brain to see someone
There's auto
do
aim,
that.
right?
I think there is slight auto aim, but even still, man, like for a game that's all about movement, I don't know how you can move that easily. I'd have to see it done. Maybe it's just because my idea of like a controller is limited, at least when compared to a mouse and keyboard. But it just sounds fucking nightmarish. to use a word that difficulty is tied to. It just sounds awful.
Well, don't forget the King Ithalians of the world, where it's like they don't use mouse and keyboard. All they use is controller. So, some people just get really naturally used to and good at that kind of stuff. And
yeah, I mean, I played a shit ton of Halo,
controller.
But yeah.
I
don't know. Yeah. It's very ridiculous, but
Maximilian dude used a controller on his run?
Really? I'll have to watch that.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Don't forget kids are doing crazy things with controlling Fortnite. That's true.
There you go.
For those asking, I am going to be playing this on stream, but it's not going to be for
a while.
Okay. Yeah. It'll be at least, I want to say like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
From now.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll save the conversation then, and also for viewers and stuff to play it as well about the final boss, because I have some strong fucking feelings about the final boss, but I can't talk about them without straight up spoiling the encounter.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay. I think
let's talk about that later.
I think we're on the same page then, and then I'm fine with that. I'm validated. So fuck that stupid boss. It's a nightmare for sure.
PTSD. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah. Let's move forward. Zeke,
so
for you
both have beaten it?
Yes. Yeah. We both finished it. I think
Cohh
100%ed it. I think I missed I think in the entire game, probably under 10 things. The game does a really good job of one, telling you where stuff is on the map, but not how to get to it. The map system is fucking amazing with that. And also at the end of each level, you unlock fast travel, so you can go back to wherever you missed something and get it, except for kind of combat challenges. Because mobs are all dead at that point. The mobs don't respawn when you go back and fast travel through stuff.
Also,
but it's
one thing I will say, Zeke, for your playthrough, when you get on to the ship for the first time, I'm not going to spoil it, go into his man cave and look at the bookshelves. Did you do this, JP?
I looked at a lot of it. I'm not sure what you're referring to specifically.
Okay. They have done, there's this little set of Easter eggs where they basically taken like 30, 40 well-known books and they've renamed them all in the Doomslayer. So it's like 50 Shades of
I didn't see
Gore.
that.
And like there's literally like 40 of these. They're amazing.
Okay.
I sat there reading that. And then there's a bunch of games too that they like rename games to be in the Doom universe. It's really good. It's really good. There's a lot of Easter eggs in that room. Take your time in that room. This goes for anyone playing the game later. Take your time in that room. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
The game's like jam-packed with collectibles and Easter eggs and music and all that stuff for sure. For sure. Zeke, any comments, questions, anything like that about Doom before we only have 15 minutes left, but anything else you want to say? It's kind of what you see is what you get. It's Doom. Like
well, I was gonna say this is one of those games that since the first one was so good and so well received, rightly so, this is one of those games where I'm like, I don't need to hear about it. I don't need to know anything about it. And now I'm going to love it. It's going to have all the things that I love about Doom. I mean, it would take them trying to fuck it up for me not to like it, probably.
I'm very curious to hear your thoughts once you play it, because it is not Doom 2016. It is very, like, the combat is different. And a lot of people don't like, I got this a lot when I was streaming it. People are fucking pissed that they added so much movement into the combat, because it is not Doom 2016. That being said,
I think people that straight up don't like the game because of it.
Yeah. People like just won't even, they've gotten refunds on Steam. Like I've seen, people are always upset on the internet, but like to see that about a Doom game, like it's kind of impressive. It's worth mentioning for sure. The other thing, I never dropped below 144 FPS in the 15 hours that I played it. It was 100% steady, zero tech issues whatsoever, ran flawlessly. Granted, I have a top-of-the-line system, so I'm sure that benefits to it, but I've heard that the game on any system runs very fucking well. And yeah, it was awesome. Cohh, you said you 100% and it was 20 hours for you? So there's a pretty good chunk?
23 to 25, I think, after everything. And I missed 2 challenges in the last couple levels, situational challenges, like kill this mob from the left-hand side.
Yeah, those are fucking, I didn't do those either. Yeah.
But what you could do, which is really fun, is you unlock cheat codes throughout the game. So I put on a couple cheat codes and I just went back into those levels. And like one of the cheat codes is every time you shoot an enemy, they immediately go into glory kill mode. So I would just like go through with a machine gun and then just like glory kill chain between all of them. And then I'd get to the mob I needed, shoot them once and do the left-hand side kill and boom, good to go. So
that makes sense.
A good rule of thumb with this game is if you do want 100% it, if you miss any challenges, just go back and get them later. Not only is there an awesome fast travel system that unlocks at the end of the levels, which is super, super fantastic. There's upgrades you can get that show all the secrets on your map. And then if you miss any of those situational challenges, you don't have to replay the level normally. Just wait until you're done with it completely, go back, pop on any cheat codes you want, and bang it out in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yep. So
Pretty cool.
That's Doom Eternal in a nutshell. We'll talk about it probably a little bit more at length once Zeke gets to it.
Only exception with cheat codes is, and this is good, they don't work on Slayer gates.
Oh, nice.
They don't work on Slayer gates.
I'm half tempted to check out so one of the things that they have is master levels, which are the main levels from the game, but added enemies with extra difficulty. I wish they would just put out more Slayer gates. Like those were the best.
Yeah. I think they're going to. Well, they've got this thing called master level.
Yeah, that's what
they're
saying.
Going to be releasing more master levels as the game goes on. So it's obviously not a live service, but they're kind of half treating it like one, where they're planning on adding like more content and stuff into the game as it goes through. Also, there's hints that the DLC is some of the DLC that may release down the road is going to be post campaign as well.
Oh, that's
you'll just
cool.
like be able to log in to your save game and like go right into the DLC from your ship. So yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Classic Cohh not listened. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
What did I not listen about?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
we've already all moved past it. Yeah, the Slayer gates.
I distract easily.
They were really good.
I do.
The only Slayer gate I didn't one shot was the first, or I didn't one shot 2 of them, the first and final one. I was very upset that I didn't one shot the final one because it was a fucking joke. But I kept dying to the same 3 things in the very beginning. I'm so upset about that. Anyways, that's Doom. Man, we'll wait till Zeke gets. We'll get into some more criticism when Zeke gets to it, because I do feel that there's a lot of menus and there's a lot of different upgrade paths, and it's Nioh-esque in that sense, because there's just a lot, and some of the things don't really do too much. But Zeke will play it. We'll talk about it then.
Well, I think you've convinced me to give Animal Crossing a shot.
Awesome.
I say fucking Nioh-esque. No.
Am I the only one that's
not
played?
my doom. Hashtag not my doom.
Am I the only one that's played Animal Crossing out of three of us?
I've actually played a little with my kid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Too much reading.
Dude, that's my complaint with that game. I think is that in order to do anything, or in order to do like seemingly routine tasks, you have to listen to the same fucking garbage over and over and like they're dumb quips, and it's like, great, cool, that's a funny joke the first time you hear it, but I don't want to hear how I caught a sea bass, but it's not quite C++ or something like that. Some stupid fucking joke. They do a bunch of random shit like that. I just wish that was streamlined a little bit better. However, I'm much more not that audience. The audience that plays Animal Crossing is super into that type of thing. They don't necessarily mind that type of shit. They just want to like create a cool island.
They're boring people. Is that what you're saying? Because
I was trying to be nice. I was going to say the first word that came to my mind was casual, but I didn't want to say casual and hardcore, because let's be honest, there are some hardcore motherfuckers in Animal Crossing, without a doubt. There are. I saw on like day 3, I saw Final Fantasy 14, like one of the best raiders in the world, had like 2.6 million bells in the game. And that is a staggering amount. The first loan you get is 100,000. So the fact that they grinded out that much shit is as hardcore as it gets.
Pardon me if we've said this already, but what was it? I think I saw Whoops or somebody sent a screenshot, and the screenshot was the guy being like, "You have too many bells in your wallet to make more money," and it's like, what?
Oh,
is that a thing? You
I haven't
apparently
seen that.
like, yeah, I don't know. Was that real, or was that?
Maybe they have a cap on what you can put in the bank. I don't know. I think we might have someone on that plays Animal Crossing next week to talk about Animal Crossing.
Dan has been diving into it. I've heard nothing but good things about his Animal Crossing streams. He's been like having a really good time with it.
Yeah, Dan's streaming it. I mean, it's fucking huge on Twitch, like 200,000 plus at any given time of the day.
I'm gonna try it eventually. I told people I was. I'm gonna give it the try and see how it is. And
well, do you think a lot of it has to do with the interactivity of it? Like if someone tells you their island code or whatever the fuck it's called, you can come get a peach or an orange or something like that, right?
I mean, you can fucking ruin their island if you really want to. If they have that like thing unlocked, you can just go dig up everything they've planted. But yes, I think it's that. And I also think that
so people can like
manipulate your island.
I thought
if you have that setting set to that proper setting, then they can come and just dig up everything on the island. But I think you have to. I think in game that is like if you best friend, like that's the actual term. If you best friend someone, then they can do that.
But if you friend someone, they can come like get some fucking apples or some shit off of your island, right?
Right. But like I was just commenting about the fact that it takes forever to do anything. If someone joins your island, you have to watch an unskippable cutscene that's like, you have to let it load, and then they like walk in through your airport, I think. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong here. I haven't done this because it sounds fucking ridiculous. They like come in through the airport, and here's Bob, and Bob walks through, and then Bob's on your island. And it's fucking like, why? Just make them, Bob has joined your island. Oh, cool. That's great. Anyways, I'll see him soon when he obviously is going to run up to me and say hi. But no, they make you watch a cutscene. Cohh says, Jesus, stop complaining. You're watching the wrong fucking show, and I don't know how you're still here after 150
No, and I looked and I was like, this guy's been stuck for a
episodes.
long fucking time, and you don't get that already?
Yeah. Cohh, I
obviously love it.
Yeah. He's obviously an Animal Crossing
something
fan.
Besides video games and streaming.
He's new. He's been subbed for a while apparently, but he's new.
Yeah.
Trying to see if there's any news here to fill the last 5 minutes. It's mostly just been like giant game release after giant game release after giant game release.
Any other games we've played? Oh, hey, Zeke, how's Persona going?
Yeah. Do you think you're close to the end? I think we ask you this every week, but
I mean, I have several more hours, but comparing it to the rest of the game, then yeah, I think I probably have, I don't know, 3 or 4 more broadcasts if I really just do what I've been doing the last couple of days
Hunker
and just
down.
kind of like not stressing over what to do with my day, because I'm starting to max out related social links. Like I think I've gotten like 3 of the social links like maxed out to 10.
Yeah.
And now I'm just focusing on like, I want to do this one social link, I'll max it out, so on and so forth. But as far as that goes, like I feel like I pretty much have a handle on what I want to do. I'm guessing there's probably maybe 2, 3 more dungeons left. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
there's no more recruitable characters, at least as far as the intro song is concerned, because the intro song has gone through all of the recruitable characters. So I think I'm done with that. So that's good. But it's a game that keeps you going. I've said it before, the same with Persona 5. It's like, man, I'm sick of social stuff. Oh shit, it's dungeon time. Good. Ah, fuck. I wish I was done with this. Oh, I'm done with the dungeon. Okay, good. Yeah, it does it. I mean, it does that pretty well. It does time management pretty well.
Yeah.
And there's always something to do. I've stopped like really caring about like stressing over what personas get what abilities, because I have one great persona and I'm probably going to stick with it till the end of the game and just give that persona everything. Like I've got great damage on it, great healing on it, great magic on it, good abilities and shit like that. It's got no weaknesses. It either like nulls out, repels, or absorbs any damage that comes at it. Like if it has a stat boost, and it'd probably take me all the way to the end. And yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
I'm excited to get to the end of it. I probably won't get to the end of it until the end of next week when I come back, but we'll keep going with it. It's fun. But the next couple of days, tomorrow I'm doing Control, and then Friday, the Control DLC. And then Friday, I'm probably doing, I might do Alyx.
Nice.
I'm going to do Alyx on Friday.
Yeah.
Give Persona a week off.
That'll be a fun stream to watch.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
One slight news thing that someone brought up in chat, and this is not the best news. You guys remember when we watched that trailer from the guys and we were like, man, this game looks kind of interesting. I hope it doesn't completely flop. Well, it came out yesterday.
What game was, I mean, you didn't say what game.
I know. So don't you think that's kind of a big deal? I say a big game that we hope wasn't going to flop came out yesterday.
Sure.
And here we are playing games for a living, and nobody knew Bleeding Edge came out yesterday.
Oh, okay. I think I knew that came out. I just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Nobody seemed to.
Yeah. Dude, that's
the problem.
If
nobody seemed to have cared that this game has come out at all. Nobody's streaming it.
How's it reviewing?
Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's like, it's. Yeah.
I think that game was in early access, and when it first launched into early access, everyone was like, oh, okay, it's a melee Overwatch, and then they moved forward. Like, no one really seemed to care.
It's kind of unfortunate, because this was it's Ninja Theory, right? I want to say.
Is it?
Yeah. This is the Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice people. Like, this was like their big, like, next project, and it's kind of like, it seems like it didn't really get any traction.
It's hard right now. Animal Crossing, Doom, Alyx, like, the Animal Crossing in itself. I mean, we're obviously not huge Nintendo fans, or Animal Crossing fans, really what we should say. But like that's dominating everything right now.
And again, this isn't really news, but I mean, I felt like it at least deserved an honorable mention or something. Like
it's definitely weird.
It's passed under so many radars. I don't know. It's kind of unfortunate, dude. It's not a game for me. I mean, when I saw the trailer, I knew it wasn't a game for me, but I did kind of hope it was going to do well. Because I like the Ninja Theory guys, and they're a good company. So it's kind of unfortunate to see it not really picking up. Maybe it's still gaining traction. You know, maybe there's some stuff coming up with it, but yeah, kind of a bummer.
It's Bleeding Edge is the game we're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about the game Bleeding Edge. Yeah, you can go to bleedingedge.com if you want to check it out. It's the melee centric Overwatch style team. Not really a shooter, but team competitive game.
Yeah, it's melee only, so for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something I actually want to talk about this story mainly so Chad can tell me if this is from the Japanese release or what, and only because I'm planning on streaming Persona 5 Royale, and it Zeke prompted it. They're doing the streaming shit again and saying don't stream Persona 5 Royal. Atlus is out. They're saying,
really?
I don't know when this was posted because it doesn't have a date, and it's a clip of an article.
Jesus.
But it says Atlus asked to please properly mark spoilers if you stream story content and to not stream using anything else than the PlayStation Share function.
Really? Now, just for those that don't know about what happened, they did the same thing for Persona 5, although I don't think they did console restrictions.
I don't know.
They basically told everyone, like, please don't stream Persona 5, especially not past this day, because there's spoilers and stuff. And then everybody did. A lot of very big streamers decided to just say screw it and did it, and absolutely nothing happened.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were just kind of like, why would you even, like, what
Yeah. Okay, so this was for the Japanese release. Okay. I wonder if they're going to do same shit for the US release then. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but fucking ridiculous.
He's very out of touch.
Yeah, or not understanding of how the world works, or how Twitch works. I don't know. Any other thing you guys want to bring up? We're a little bit over, but we good?
RimWorld's still awesome. Everyone should get it.
Yeah. Also, you need to finish Ori, Cohh. You need to get back to Ori.
I do need to finish Ori. Speaking of which,
you play that too.
Have an amazing bionic arm that repairs itself in my game, and you're a super good crafter, and you are my primary constructor, and you're making masterworks like hotcakes. It's crazy. You guys are doing great.
Dang.
So just throwing that out there. I'm doing evening RimWorld streams now, and you two are killing it.
Why'd you cut my arm off?
Actually, I think you got shot off at the shoulder by a robot. Yeah.
Okay.
They like took your entire, like, they shot you here and like it just like spiraled off into the distance.
That's acceptable.
Then we had to put you on hauling because you couldn't do anything right. Because I mean, you just tried to one-hand it and you were terrible at it. But then we got a mission to caravan across the world to get this like aerotech, like Star Wars style super arm.
Great.
And sure enough, you did it. Granted, you got sick on the way back, but you made it through. And you got back and we installed it. And now you're like awesome. It's like 150 efficiency arm. So you're some kind of Superman, Iron Man thing now. It's pretty cool.
It's great. It's good. It's good life. It's good life.
Yeah, man.
Let's do some shout outs and call it a show.
I did kill Zeke from a root crushing, but he miraculously came back to life when my game crashed.
Oh.
I am Jesus.
Zeke is Jesus. So works. Jesus, Zeke, do some shout outs for us, please.
You bet. What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for watching. My name is Ezekiel the Third. You can find me at /Ezekiel_III on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Follow, like, subscribe. Thank you to Cohh and JP for this very engaging conversation, very informative conversation. What the fuck was that me? Anyway, I guess must have just been me. I heard a little notification. Anyway, if you want to catch me, I will be on tomorrow at noon Pacific, checking out the new Control DLC, doing a little bit of a sponsored broadcast. I might go long. I might actually do everything in that game and just make a whole broadcast out of it, but we'll see. For at least the first 2 hours, though, I will be doing Control. After that, maybe we'll do something else. I don't know. But there is a new role-playing show that I want to direct your attention to right after Drop Frames is over. Well, not right after, about a half an hour from now. There's a new role-playing show called Gone on twitch.tv/tablestory, where I am a guest NPC, but it's a fantastic show, and if you want to check it out, that's happening in about a half an hour. But tomorrow, Control, and then Friday, Half-Life Alyx if I can get it set up. That's it.
Cool. I hope that DLC is good for Control. I would love to see more good DLC or more
so too.
good content from Control. That'd be really good.
Agreed. The base game was so cool.
It's fucking awesome. It was our game of the year last year, wasn't it?
Yeah,
The combined game of the year. Yeah. Do some shout outs. Go.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Cohh. If I haven't met you, nice to meet you. As always, big thanks to Zeke and JP. It is good to be back. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week due to internet issues, but I missed a week and it's very good to be back. I am streaming every day at 8 a.m. ET. Over the next week, you're going to see Half-Life Alyx. We're probably going to finish up Nioh 2, maybe check out New Game Plus a little bit. I've got Ori 2 to finish. And also, I've started up this new little thing that we call Cozy Rimworld in the evenings, where I get on generally around 7 p.m. ET, and we do a couple to a few hours of Rimworld. My wife generally stops by to say hi, so if you've never met Lena, good time to come and say hello. And yeah, we have a really banging little streamer colony going on now. We're going to be doing that in about 3 hours, so hopefully you'll stop by and say hi. And on that note, thanks for being here this week, and we will see you next week. More fun and games.
Awesome stuff. As for me, I'll be playing some Half-Life Alyx in about 5 minutes. The stream won't go offline, at least my channel won't. Cohh and Zeke's will. And we're just going to be playing more Alyx throughout the night. Probably not going to go more than 5 or 6 hours, as I get fucking exhausted mentally and physically when playing Half-Life Alyx, really any VR game. But we're going to try and finish that up hopefully by Friday. I think I've seen most people clocking in like 16 to 20 hours on that. So we'll see how many more streams that'll be. Cohh, do you know how long that game is complete? Is it 50? I've heard 14 to 20 hours.
Yeah, that's about what I've heard as well. It really depends. Like me and you, I kind of feel like are really enjoying the flavor. So we're kind of going a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But I've heard if you main it, it's like 10 to 15. So I'm guessing like probably 20 plus.
Cool.
Around 20-ish.
Okay.
Maybe a little less.
Awesome. Zeke will not be here next week. He's going to be doing some stuff. So we need to do. Who's the other Zeke? We have better and lesser Cohh. We need to have a. Who is your? Who would you say is your foil, Zeke?
Yeah, I don't know if I dislike any other streamer enough to call them a Zeke.
Yeah, it's tough. I would have to say, you know what the funny thing is?
Yeah.
When we had the same, because we both did the Braun shaver thing at the same time, the both sponsored thing we did at the same time.
Okay.
And it was surprising how many times we got confused for each other. Angry Pug.
Okay.
Like if we have the same facial hair, it's kind of like he's taller than I am, but like just face wise, it's like doppelganger when we had the same the same face facial hair.
For goofy, funny stand-ins, maybe
Mike's good.
Mike's good. Or we haven't had Ello on the show for a while. Could check in with him.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Figure it out.
Zeke will be back in 2 weeks. He'll be a master at Nioh. He'll be schooling me on all the things because I'll probably still be raging at something in the game. So
there's a lot to rage at.
Yeah, there's a lot to rage at for sure.
We can bring. Yeah, see if Strippin wants to come in. Sure, it's a great suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of extra baggage with him. You know, it's been a tumultuous 2 years or 3 years.
Oh, never mind.
You know. Anyways, we're out. We'll see you guys next week. At least me and Cohh will. We'll be here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.